Chuck Stokes, our editorial director, is here. And on primary night 2016, we're joined by the state party chairs in the state of Michigan, Ronna Romney McDaniel, the Republican Party chair, and Brandon Dillon, the Democratic Party chair. It's great to have you both here.
Great to be here.
Great to be here.
And it's good having both of you right here in our studio as well.
And we're sitting so close together, we're getting along.
Well, we'll see.
So
if you're
far.
So far. Wait till November.
All right.
That's right.
Maybe we'll see in 10 minutes, maybe.
There'll be no violence.
Yes.
I can assure you that.
Up until today, the question has been, will Michigan matter? From your various standpoints, will Michigan matter?
Michigan's already mattered. I mean, look at the attention we've received from the candidates. On the Republican side, we've had over 30 visits from Republican candidates in the past year. The crowds have been huge at their events. We had 2 candidates in Michigan last night, John Kasich and Ted Cruz. We are in play, and it's been wonderful to see Michigan matter because we deserve to have a voice in this election.
Brandon?
Oh, well, this may be one area where we agree. Michigan does matter for many different reasons. The Democratic candidates are here campaigning hard, and in many ways, this is an opportunity, as Michigan being the first state that has that real diverse mix of Democratic constituency groups all coming together in one state. It's going to be a real test for both Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders to see if their appeal is broad enough to reach everybody. So I think Michigan's going to be a very important indicator of how that candidate or those candidates are going to proceed in the states upcoming in Ohio and in Florida, where you have similar demographic makeups.
And it has been interesting so far because of Sanders' success in certain states and Clinton's success in certain states. So yes, here in Ohio in particular, from a Democratic standpoint, it's going to be very interesting to see if what kind of gap really exists, and is Sanders going to be able to extend this campaign?
Well, yeah, they put a lot of effort into Michigan. There's no doubt the Sanders campaign outspent the Clinton campaign here. They had more offices opened up, I think, but the Clinton campaign had a very strong, aggressive effort in Michigan as well, and she's had a long-standing history with Michigan voters through her husband and many trips she's made to the state. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where the chips fall tonight, but Michigan is kind of that gateway to all the other industrial states, and whether it's on the Republican side or the Democratic side, if you can win in Michigan, I think it shows that you can compete in almost any state going forward.
Ronna Romney McDaniel, there certainly, without question, is a dump Trump campaign going on from within your own party. You have that name of Romney. Has this put you in a very difficult position? The fact that Mitt Romney came out last week with a sledgehammer and said this needs to be the last stop. Donald Trump cannot represent this party in the White House.
Chuck, I'm sure you're going to be surprised to hear this, but I come from a family with a lot of strong political opinions. My Uncle Mitt happens to be one of those family members, and he's concerned for this country and ran for president, and that continues. But I have an aunt in Pinckney who's for Donald Trump, and an aunt and uncle in Bloomfield who are for Rubio, and my son likes Cruz, and my daughter likes Kasich. And my job as party chair is, once the dust settles, we have to bring them all together. If we have any chance of getting our nominee elected to the White House, we're going to have to put that to rest, and we're going to have to coalesce around that nominee. Now's not the time to force that to happen. Everybody should go out and engage with the candidate they believe is best to represent them. But we need to work as a party to represent who the voters choose.
Some wonder if that won't be harder than usual to kind of put Humpty back together again, though.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot at stake. People are very concerned. They're concerned about the course of this country. Republicans are very concerned that if they cannot take the White House in this election, that they're going to have 8 more years of essentially an Obama presidency through either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. So much is at stake. I've seen this before. Passions get high. We know what we need to do. Our purpose will unite us. Come November, we will have a unified party, I believe.
Brandon Dillon, Bernie Sanders has certainly gone after Hillary Clinton. They've had a heated exchange. They had it in Flint, and the real heat of that, I mean, they agreed on a lot of things as we dealing with Flint. But when it came to the auto industry and about who would be the best president and who would be best for Michigan, they disagreed wholeheartedly. How concerned are you that Bernie Sanders going after Hillary Clinton could turn this state around?
Well, in comparison to the full-on civil war that's going on the Republican side, I have very few concerns. I don't relish Ronna's job in putting the Humpty Dumpty back together again after their primary. I think we're going to have some challenges. There's a lot of passionate Sanders supporters and Clinton supporters but I think they're all focused on the big prize and making sure that we do retain the White House. And whether it was Mitt Romney or other party elders on the Republican side, this is not just a normal course of business in a Republican primary. This is a full-on effort to stop the leading nominee for the party's nomination. And whatever differences Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton have over specific issues, it pales in comparison to the deep ideological rifts that you're seeing play out in this Republican primary through all the different candidates.
Yeah, but it's not just on the Republican side of the fence. If you listen to Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, there's a lot of talk about which one is more progressive,
Sure.
which one is more quote unquote in the pocket of Wall Street, and that's very deep-rooted concerns. Those are ideological concerns.
They are, but they're about policy and specifics about what you believe, what you represent, and how you would put those policies into action, which I'd rather have our candidates having a debate about trade policy, foreign policy, who's more progressive, who's more practical, than whose hands are bigger and who can insult each other the most. I mean, the tone of the debate, I think, is clear that on the Democratic side, it's substantive, it's about issues and ideas, and on the Republican side, it's denigrated into attacks and insults.
Well, to this point, there's some truth in that for sure, but this is March 8th. We've got a long way to go till
Yes,
November.
sir.
It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I want to thank you both for coming by tonight, spending a few minutes with us this evening on primary night. And as we say, it's going to be very interesting to see how the voters in our state weigh in and how this either impacts or doesn't the race as we move forward.
Well,
The
you should
nation's watching Michigan.
Yep,
Yeah.
and people still have time to vote
Yes,
tonight.
they
They
do.
do still have time to vote, and we encourage everybody to get out there and vote. Voting is very, very important regardless of who they cast their ballot
Absolutely,
for.
we agree on that.
Two things we agree on.
It's a miracle.
That's a start.
Brandon, Dillon, thank you. Ronna
Thanks so
Romney
much.
McDaniel, thank you for joining us on our
Thank you.
live webcast
Thank
here
you.
tonight. Thank you. Best of luck to your candidates.
Yes.
Yeah, and to voters in the state of Michigan. Thank you so much.
We had a